It's me, Gabagoo Life, welcome. It's me, Gabagoo Life, welcome. It's me, Gabagoo Life, welcome. It's me, Gabagoo Life, welcome.
That's my opinion!
Drag. And really, this whole thing comes down to money and creative integrity. That's what I stand on. And that's where all this turmoil came from. So I went over to Stacy's. Stacy said, yes, let's do it. Let's do a weekly show on Tuesday night. I'm going to call it The Queer Agenda. I went to Benediction, who I was really good friends with at the time. We had known each other through the club scene. Benediction and Ruby were kind of connected together at the time doing a show called Sis. And I was like, let's bring the weirdos all into one show. And sure enough, I did. I brought us all together. At the time, Dolly was working as a bartender bar back at BS West, so it all made sense completely to bring us all together, especially how talented everybody was. Later on, we added Astrid. It just made sense. Astrid was Dolly's daughter. Astrid is incredibly talented and can come up with all different kinds of concepts and beautiful to watch on stage. Now, the idea was we were being hired as independent contractors with a budget based on needs of the show. And let me just tell you, I advocated for every show host to get $100 and I would get $150. I would pay for the flyers, I would do the promotion, I would print the flyers. Thank you, Stacy, for allowing us to use your business discount for those flyers at FedEx, Kinko's. But yes, all of that cost came out of my pocket. Online promotion, every single dollar that I made, I put back into that show, mainly because I wanted to be successful and I believed in it so much. I was naive, inexperienced, dumb, I don't know. But I felt like the pressure to make this show successful fell solely on my back. I was the only one putting up deposits for out-of-town guests. I was the only one navigating any out-of-pocket costs. I wasn't the one that was just had my hand out trying to collect tips or trying to get booked. That was a different feeling for me because towards the end, I sort of just took control. And I took control mainly because we were experiencing some lows. There was some internal conflict. Things needed to get done that weren't getting done on time. For instance, people who needed to submit performers didn't do it on time. So then that put the flyer person behind. And so I was just like, screw it. I'm just gonna book everybody and we're gonna have those flyers done and we're gonna call it a day. Because in the part of the business that people don't know is like you have to produce, you have to have the production, you have to meet your deadlines, you have to ensure that there's enough time to market and promote and instill that people know exactly what's happening in terms of like your events. And I think one of my downfalls is being really transparent with Stacy as far as like what we're taking in for the door, what we're taking in for events, cost wise. Also, Stacy shared with me what our liquor sales were during our show. I had a great idea that everyone was making money. In terms of liquor sales were a few $1,000s and we took in enough to break even for our out-of-town guests, for our paid spots, for decorations and promotions. Luckily, Stacy's paid for the spotlight person as well as our DJ, so that was really nice. We had a full-on production. It was beautiful. And within the first year, the Queer Agenda won Show of the Year. Show director Carnita Asada. Thank you so much for voting. I loved this show so much. And this would be considered a success as far as like my first for-profit idea brand concept. So it was really a huge learning experience and I loved it so much. Conflict came into play as I was so stressed that I didn't know how to balance the mind, body, soul, spirit, and the stress. So I was a little snappy. I had an attitude problem. I could be considered a bitch at the time. And I really took control over everything because I felt like, again, it was my brand. It was my idea. Everything fell on my shoulders. So we had a special guest. I think I was there like 16 months, or say 18 months, something like that. And there was a special out-of-town guest who, you know, didn't bring in the excitement that we thought we were going to bring in. And Stacy was incredibly worried. He was worried because we had meetings. He said he was worried. He's like, look at these numbers. This is how much we paid. And the list continued. In that moment, we had another special guest that was coming up for Pride Month. So we were having two special guests. And he was very stressed about the sales, what we were going to bring in.